and they don't really like me. Cause I can fuck your bitch and fuck your mom and auntie.
Marvel Rivals has been out for 4 months
so
now,
either not
but
sucks.
it still has most of us down bad. The fast-paced gameplay, completely free lineup of
Don't watch
fan-fave characters, and flashy animations with vibrant colors is like literal crack. Even when my team gets completely dog-walked, I can't resist the urge to queue again, and again, and again, and again. So, to make my Rivals hyperfixation be at least semi-productive, I've created an iceberg that covers everything related to this game. From basic mechanics, to common issues, memes and jokes, and even some conspiracies. Starting at the top with the more known topics and slowly moving down
Marvel
to
Rivals
the more obscure and
Iceberg.
niche. Whether you're a bronze player or you're in the top 500, you're guaranteed to see something here that you've never heard of before. This is the complete Marvel Rivals Iceberg explained. Overwatch copy.
Yes.
While Rivals does have some unique gameplay mechanics, overall the game is super similar to Blizzard's hero shooter Overwatch, and the game is constantly called out for being an Overwatch dupe. Even Blizzard's former president hopped onto Twitter to diss Rivals, calling the game Overwatch Marvel Rivals in a post prior to the game's release. I should mention that he loses all credibility just one sentence later when he claims that Black Widow, a Marvel character that's been around since 1964, is a copy of Overwatch's Widowmaker. In my opinion,
that was stupid
Rivals
to say.
is way more like original Overwatch than Overwatch 2, having a lot of the features that made 2016 Overwatch so addicting and so fresh. Anyways, this is all super
Yeah, I can
ironic
agree with
since
that.
it's well known that
Marvel
Overwatch
Rivals
is
is more
just a
so like
copy of
OG
Team
Overwatch.
Fortress 2. I guess this is just the hero shooter
They're
circle
way
of
better
life,
than
though.
Overwatch 2.
Cool characters are all DPS. When people play Rivals for the first time, they immediately want to play as their favorite
Fucking
Marvel hero, which is
DPS.
completely
Insta-lock
understandable.
Spider-Man and
The problem
Wolverine. I'm
with
sick of
this,
y'all
though, is
niggas.
that the coolest
Y'all niggas
and
be
most
ass.
popular Marvel characters are all DPS heroes.
Y'all
Meaning
niggas
that
be
their
fucking
primary focus
trash.
is on dealing damage and securing kills for the team. So in matches, you'll find yourself staring blankly at the character selection screen as your team comp consists of Iron Man, Spider-Man, Star-Lord, Punisher, and Winter Soldier, leaving you with the following options. A. Choosing a strategist character and attempting to solo heal the entire team.
Me.
B. Choosing a Vanguard character and attempting to effectively block damage for your team while dying from no heals. C. Choosing a 5th duelist character, because why not? You're probably going to lose anyway. You'll see a lot of this in quick play games, but unfortunately it does exist in the lower ranks of comp games as well. Hopefully we get some cool Vanguard and strategist characters added in the near future. Lord Icon. Each character has 5 proficiency levels and
Because you
rewards
gotta
that are
fucking
earned by
play
completing
with
the
people,
unique
yo.
progression challenges
It'd be the
tied to
randoms.
that character's abilities and role. The proficiency levels are Agent, which is the bottom basic level you start out at, Knight, Captain, Centurion, and Lord. When you eventually grind your way to Lord status, you unlock a new character icon that's shown in games. So
My
you
shit
can
probably
flex on
high as
everyone
shit
in
with
your
Storm
lobby.
and Sue. I
I've
ain't
started
even
to
look.
see more and more of these icons in my games lately since Rivals has been out for a few months now. I think that Lord was intended to be an indicator on whether or not someone is good at a specific character. However, that's really not the case, as all it really means is that they've played that character for like 20-ish plus hours. Team-ups. Team-ups is a gameplay mechanic exclusive to Rivals that gives certain sets of characters access to extra abilities or buffs when they team up with each other. Each team-up set consists of one character that's required to be in the match for the team-up to work, known as the anchor or activation character, and one or more receiving characters that'll receive the additional abilities or buffs. For example, Luna Snow is required for the Chilling Charisma team-up, which gives Namor and or Jeff an additional ability. I've noticed that all of the anchor characters also have seasonal buffs independent of the
Niggas don't be giving a
team-ups.
fuck
Like
about
Cloak
these
and Dagger
team-ups.
have a 15% healing buff this season, since she is the anchor character for the team-up with Moon Knight. I think they do this so people are more willing to play as the anchor characters. I'm a really big fan of the mechanic, and I'm excited to see how they build on it once they add more heroes to the game. I've heard that they're planning on changing the team-ups periodically as well, giving the chance for new characters to have new abilities and seasonal buffs applied to them. MVP and SVP. Post-game, the most valuable player title is awarded to a player on the winning team, and the second valuable player title is awarded to a player on the losing team. In a comp game, I'm pretty sure that you get more
They don't give that
XP
shit to me, they
and
just be
ranked
giving that
points
shit to
if you were
anybody.
the MVP of the match, and you lose less ranked points if you were the SVP of the match. During a game, the current MVP and SVP are marked on the leaderboard with an
Niggas
ace
don't even be
banner
doing
on
shit,
their
you get it.
icon. This is usually only useful information if you have the ace and you want to encourage your teammates to try harder and do better. No one knows for sure how MVP and SVP are calculated, but it's typically awarded to the players that have the best stats. I'm sure it's deeper than that in the back end though, as I've seen some weird combinations where some people get MVP, but they had worse stats than others.
Right.
So not really
Don't
sure
be
how that
doing
works.
shit, but they get
Crazy
MVP. That
usernames.
shit don't be making sense.
One of the best features of Marvel Rivals is the ability to pick a new username when you play for the first time, instead of the game just automatically using your Steam username. This obviously resulted in everyone choosing the most out-of-pocket usernames for their accounts. Literally any game you queue for, there's always at least one person with an absolutely insane name. And any given
That's
match,
why I had to go
you
with
can
Ghetto
see
Uwu,
users
'cause
like
nothing
Bald Fentaddict,
else was
Ronald
working.
Raygun 69, Hulk Tua,
Like
Big
literally
Brother,
nothing else
Caked
was
Up
was
Femboy.
working.
I don't know about everyone else, but I really enjoy this aspect of the game, and I always look forward to reading the names at the start of every match. Alpha Test. Prior to the release, Rivals ran an invite-only 10-day-long
This shit was the
closed
hardest to
alpha
get in,
testing
yo.
of the game
I remember
back
that
in
day.
May 2024, which gave a small group of
This
people
shit was
access to
so
play
hard
early.
to get
In order
into.
to be involved, you needed an alpha playtest code, and only about 30,000 of those were given out randomly, lottery style. There was a lot of hate around this style of testing, most of it coming from people who were salty that they didn't win a code. I was unable to play during the alpha test, but let me know if you were in the comments.
I got to play a little bit during the second wave of codes.
Battle Pass never expires. So unlike any other game that has a Battle Pass
That's a
system,
W.
as long as you buy a Rivals Battle Pass, you have the ability to go back and finish it at any point in time. This is such a nice feature that I feel will give them more sales in the long run. There were many times that I wanted to buy a Valorant Battle Pass, but I knew I wouldn't have the time to complete the entire thing, making it not worth it for me in the long run. Piggybacking off of this, you're also able to buy skins that are outside of the current shop's rotation, which is a breath of fresh air compared to games like Fortnite and Valorant. Gold skins. For each season so far, Rivals has given players the opportunity to earn exclusive skins by reaching the gold rank in comp. Gold and higher players in Season 0 received an exclusive Moon Knight skin. In the first half of Season 1, received an exclusive Invis Woman skin. And in the second half of Season 1, will receive an exclusive Human Torch skin and the Invisible Woman skin from the first half of the season if it hasn't been received already. You're able to unlock the gold skins as long as you hit gold at some point during the season that they're offered. You do not need to finish in gold to get the reward, which is a nice feature. I'm a fan of this. I will take anything that is free. No role queue. This one is kind of a hot topic right now. Most people should know that in competitive matches of team-based games, balanced team composition is the driving factor for winning games and ranking up. Games like Overwatch 2 offer a role queue option for competitive that essentially forces a team to be balanced by consisting of 2 tanks, 2 DPSs, and 2 supports. Before queuing for role queue, players have to select the role they want to play, and then they are locked into that role for the entirety of the match. So it's already been confirmed by Rivals devs that they are not planning on adding any type of role queue into the game, but I'll speak my opinion on this anyway. I think that players need the freedom to switch roles with each other mid-game, especially when someone starts off by playing DPS and is just not him. It's also nice to be able to run different team comps, such as 1-3-2 or 2-2-3, as sometimes that's needed to secure a win. GG healer diff, GG no heals. This is not exclusive to Rivals, but it definitely fits here, don't argue with me please. 96.754% of the time, you'll see some version of this in your post-game chat after a loss. Sometimes you do lose games because your healers were trying to DPS and not healing their actual DPS teammates at all.
Bruh.
Sometimes you lose games because your healers were getting assaulted by Spider-Man, Black Panther, or Iron Fist, and they can't heal when they're dead.
And that be me.
However, most of the time you'll see this phrase said by someone that didn't play their best and doesn't know how to take accountability for their own trash gameplay. I'm sure I offended some of you here, so let me apologize.
Yeah, no, talk to these
Yes,
niggas.
Namor. It is Rocket's fault that you went 6-13.
Talk to these
You will
niggas.
Try harder next time. So sorry, King. Banning system. In Diamond rank and above lobbies, a 2-round ban phase plays out on the character selection screen prior to the game starting. During each round, players will select the hero they'd like banned. When the timer runs out, the game will randomly pick one hero from each side to ban from the player's
That
selection.
Cloak and Dagger skin
The
is
4
so
results
good.
are then banned for the whole match. Now players are able to select the hero they'd like to play as out of the remaining pool. This means that it gets significantly harder to one-trick your way up the ranks once you hit Diamond. You'll need to be sure that you can play as a few different characters just in case your main is selected to be banned. I'm being for real. People will remember your username and who you play as and ban your main out of spite the next time you queue
That's
up
funny
against
as
them.
shit.
Or sometimes, players will vote to ban the hero you locked in as in the beginning just to do a bit of trolling. Game optimization, lol. I don't know why I titled this entry Game Optimization when there is no such thing as that in Marvel Rivals. This game is constantly crashing, lagging, and stuttering, even on high-powered PCs. It is so bad for some people that they've given up on trying to play
Yeah,
it
the servers
altogether.
was kind
I
of
think
fucked
the
up
devs
for
have
me
been
earlier.
slowly pushing out small fixes to make the game run better as time goes on, because back when the game first dropped, when Strange opened a portal, my entire computer would crash and I'd have to get back into the game.
Damn.
This is absolutely nowhere near where it needs to be though. They really need to come up with an optimization plan ASAP. No placement matches. Usually, competitive games have a series of placement matches that you're required to play in order to see what rank you should start out at. However, Rivals has
Everybody
no
just started on
placement match
bronze.
system, so all players regardless of skill level start off in Bronze 3 and have to work their way up by playing normal competitive games. I don't know about you guys, but I feel like this system is better because you're able to start out at the same level as your friends. Plus, I feel like it would be super hard to correctly gauge the skill level of one person in a 6v6 placement match of all different skills. But tell me what you guys think. Jarvis. This entry refers to a meme that players have been referencing since the game's release. Basically, if there's an Iron Man in your lobby, he'll hype himself up by saying, "Jarvis, clip that."
The Jarvis
after he
memes used to be
maximum
funny, I'm
pulses
not
you into
gonna
the core
lie.
of the earth.
They kind of died out now, but the Jarvis memes
It can
actually used
also
to be
be
funny.
used when the Iron Man is trash, like it is here. I don't know, this is just a little Marvel gimmick thingy that's been going on. I think it's funny. TikTok strats. When Rivals first came out, there was always a new dumb strategy going viral on TikTok.
Yeah, me
every few
personally,
days
I don't
everyone
need
would
TikTok
spam in-game.
to
One of
learn how
the
to play
most
the game, but
popular
hey,
was
if
the
you do,
TikTok
hey, go
Strange
ahead.
strat, which was Doctor Strange opening up a portal right outside of the enemy team's spawn room, so when they came running out, they'd jump in it and fall off the map. Not gonna lie, this was actually crazy at first because people would not even have a Strange on their own team, but would still run out of the doors and jump in the portal thinking that they did have one and die. Another viral TikTok strat was Penny stacking a bunch of bombs right outside the enemy team's spawn room, so when they opened the doors, the whole team would run outside and blow up instantly. Eventually, people catch on to
Yes.
these things and stop falling for them, but I guess it's funny for the first couple of days when no one knows what they're doing. Clone Rumble hate. Clone Rumble is an arcade-style 6v6 game mode where the character pool is limited to just 2 characters. Players were so excited for this mode, anticipating it to be a fun way to try out new heroes and imagining how goofy it would be to run 12 Lokis or
I need
12
them to
strangers
add the
in one
random
lobby.
mode.
However, this excitement died as soon as the game mode was released, as people saw how bad it really was. The 2 characters are selected via a voting system, but not really a voting system. Each player will pick what character they want, and the game will randomly select one of the player's characters from each team. There's no weight to this, meaning if 5 people vote Spider-Man, but 1 person votes for Moon Knight, Moon Knight could still be chosen as that team's character. This is very, very similar to the banning mechanism in Diamond and higher lobbies. Certain characters are unselectable, like Doctor Strange and a majority of the healers. However, Jeff and Mantis are still choosable, meaning that you can have games that last forever, since it's incredibly hard to kill multiple Jeffs. Another big issue is that the game mode is domination based, so sometimes you can literally go for 3 rounds, which is insanely boring and annoying, depending on the 2 characters that are selected. There's only 1 map available for this game mode as well, which gets so old so fast. Hopefully Rivals learns from this and makes future arcade games way better. I'm really hoping for a 3v3 style game mode like Overwatch has. Jeff King Von. This is a new entry, but this time about Jeff the Land Shark. Whenever
Why is this on Iceberg?
Jeff is just a super cute little chill guy, which he is, don't get me wrong. However, they quickly realize that he is an absolute menace to society. Jeff can team wipe, well actually, he can even lobby wipe with his all on certain maps. People started comparing him to rapper and gamer who was known to have killed multiple people before his own death in 2020. Jeff is way easier to counter nowadays, but he's still pretty annoying to play against.
That is, it's just so, it's just so like left and random just to hear her talk about random Marvel Rivals facts and just to tell you facts about King Vaughn. It's so fucking funny.
Rage bait Jeff. He's still one of my biggest ops, not gonna lie. Solo queue hell. I'm not sure if the matchmaking for this game is completely cooked or what the issue is here, but it is incredibly hard to consistently rank up without having a full 6-stack queuing together, or at least a couple friends to queue up with. I think that it probably comes down to the fact that this is a team game, so when you're in the higher ranks, it's harder to carry, and you have to rely on your team to pull their weight or you'll lose. Still though, many people on Reddit complain daily that they're hard stuck in bronze, get SVP or MVP every single match, but no matter what they do, they can
play against bots and niggas still be ass. Solo queuing bots and niggas still be fucking stupid.
But I genuinely think that something is off with this game's matchmaking. Leaks. There has not been a surprise in this game, like ever. We constantly know what skins, heroes, and events are coming out before they're officially announced because of leaks. The Marvel Leaks subreddit can tell you what new skins are coming out in the shop for like the next 3
I really don't be
weeks.
caring
That's
about
insane.
leaks like that.
I feel like the devs are just actively leaking content for engagement or something at this point. I'm not complaining though because I like to see what I'm going to spend all my money on in the future. That way I'm more prepared. Tilted Ninja and Tim. Streamers Tim the Tatman and Ninja played a ton of competitive rivals together over the past couple of months. They had this thing going on for a while where they would both get mad and crash out on each other over the game. To be honest, I can't figure out if this is like partly scripted or over-exaggerated or what. It seems fake because obviously them screaming at each other spiked their stream engagement, but on the other hand, this game is super frustrating, and I think I'd crash out on Ninja too based on the way he plays this game like it's Fortnite.
This game do be crash out worthy.
Overwatch has to
especially Ninja, the way he plays, he's ass.
When adding new content to their game. Games like Fortnite have it a bit easier, relying mostly on collabs for their new skins and content, while Rivals started out in the best possible position, having access to thousands of characters and fits from the Marvel universe. They've already added in some skins from comics and movies to the game, and they could probably release a new skin a day for 1,000,000 years and never run out of content. The same goes for the characters too. Marvel has so many characters that the only real issue Rivals will experience here is figuring out what the realistic hero count should be to keep everything in-game balanced. Do you guys think they could eventually have and maintain a roster as big as League of Legends for this type of game? Or do you think they'd have to limit it to like under 60-ish options? I think it would be cool if they had a system where there were over like 100 characters and they swap them in and out, kind of like how Valorant swaps their maps in between seasons. That way you had access to some people sometimes and then others on other times.
Yeah, you probably would have to do that because it's going to be way too many people.
Rivals was insanely popular at its launch, accumulating over 10 million players in just the first 72 hours of its release. During this time, you'd see people spamming, "Game will be dead in a week," in the comments on every Rivals related post across all social media platforms. I don't know if these were salty Overwatch fans, salty Concord fans, or just people who know how the modern gaming industry felt, but it was extremely annoying to see it everywhere. Obviously the game didn't fall off after a week, but instead of moving on and minding their business, these people decided to extend their timeline and start commenting, "Game will be dead in a month," on everything. Since you're watching my video right now, I'm sure you guys know that the game didn't die in 1 month. It actually even hit its all-time peak of 644,000 concurrent
it's still alive and strong,
January
and it's
10th,
still gonna go.
which was about 1 month post-launch. Recently, I've started to see "the game won't last 6 months" comments on TikTok
I don't know why
and
the fuck
Twitter.
niggas thought that.
At this point, I think they're just
stupid.
trying to rage bait for a reaction, which surprisingly still works sometimes based on the amount of people that are arguing with them. Poor moderation. So I'm pretty sure the devs created this game's moderation system right after they read a book about gentle parenting. At the time of recording this video, this is how the moderation system works. A player is
You
reported
can't
for
say
something,
shit in
usually
that chat.
throwing or being toxic in chat. 3 to 6 days later, that player will get a message in game telling them that they are in big trouble for a violation
you can't
committed
say
during
shit,
gameplay.
man. That's
Their
why I don't
punishment
talk.
is standing in the corner facing the wall for 15 minutes. That's it. After that, they can re-queue and play again. There's no restrictions from chat, no penalties longer than 15 minutes, no bans on their account. The only exception to this is for cheaters. When a reported player is confirmed to be cheating, they do get a full account ban. However, they can just create a new account and start over. I think as of right now, the only way for players to get these penalties is if other players.
That's why I just talk shit about everybody on my stream.
Has any sort of
I don't give a fuck if they listening or not.
Picks up on abuse in voice and text chat. Mods. There's a surprising amount of mods available for this game, which is kind of unusual considering how Rivals is an online competitive game with a built-in anti-cheat software. Most of the mods available currently are client-side cosmetics, so unfortunately, only the player that has the mod installed will be able to see it in-game.
That's
Unsurprisingly though, a good majority of the mods are non-safe for work, so I won't showcase them here. However, I will show you some of my favorites that I found while looking through these. Replace Iron Fist with Jeff. Replace the Punisher with Big Smoke model and audio. Hawkeye to Minecraft Skeleton. Replace Luna Snow's alt with popular TikTok song. Supersize Squirrel Girl. I didn't install any of these myself. I don't want to be banned, as I'm sure Rivals doesn't like that people are using mods instead of buying the licensed skins in their game. If you do end up modding the game, please do so at your own risk. Cosplays. Obviously, Marvel cosplays were a thing before this game came out, but I like how the game brings attention to the lesser-known Marvel characters, making for some fresh cosplays. Lately, I've seen a ton of Cloak and Dagger, Squirrel Girl, and Iron Fist cosplays, and I may be slightly uncultured, but I didn't know who these characters were prior to Rivals. The in-game skins give the opportunity for a unique twist on popular cosplays as well. I've also seen streamers which is pretty entertaining. Yeah, just something I had to throw on here to acknowledge because some of them are too good not to show off. Hela and Hawkeye. Hela and Hawkeye were the first broken characters in this game ever, terrorizing lobbies all throughout Season 0. Whether you think they were OP or not,
I was a Hela main,
they both had the highest percentage ban rate across all ranks for the entire season because it was not fun at all playing against them. It was crazy because people would rather go against the Hulk and Iron Man team up than a Hawkeye one-shotting everyone or a Hela two-tapping whoever she wanted from any distance. Obviously, it's going to be near impossible to have a complete balance between all the characters, and it'll only get harder as they add more into the game. However, as long as they continue to address and fix things like this, I think we'll be alright in the long run. 30 FPS disadvantage. It's always preferred to run competitive shooters at the highest frame rate possible in order to have some of the smoothest gameplay and player performance, but this usually doesn't affect the actual game's performance or any character abilities at all. Shockingly, this is not the case for Rivals though, as back in December it was discovered that due to the game's terrible optimization, Strange, Venom, Star-Lord, Magic, and Wolverine were essentially nerfed for players that were running the game at 30 FPS.
That's crazy.
Using one as an example. Here you can see
that's
the comparison
wild.
to Magic, using her dash at both 30 FPS and 60
wow.
FPS. The 60 FPS dash allows her to cover a good amount of
some niggas is just actually just legit ass and they can't help it because they're just playing the game differently from everybody else.
Dash for enough and she misses the enemy, leaving her vulnerable to counters. I honestly don't know if this has been fully fixed yet, but hopefully it has. This ties back into how bad the game runs and how there's zero optimization.
Yo, yeah, that's crazy.
Gunner skins. One thing about Marvel Rivals is they're gonna capitalize on fan service, and I can't blame them for it. So far, there are 3 skins that you could classify as Gunner skins. The Vengeance for Psylocke, the Malice for Inviswoman, and the newly announced skin for Baddie Emma Frost. Other games have kept their skins less revealing and way more modest, but I wonder if that'll change now that Rivals did it and they've made a ton of money off of it too. Some people don't like Rivals leaning into the fan service thing and overly sexualizing female characters.
Shut the fuck up! Shut up!
I don't have a problem with these types of skins. The Malice one was literally taken from the comics and just changed up a little bit, and they did the design really well. Emma Frost is always wearing super revealing stuff in the comics, so it's not a surprise that we're getting a crazy Gunner skin for her. Also, you literally don't have to buy the skins if you don't like them.
Nigga scared of titties, nigga, shut up!
For these characters that are less revealing if that's an issue for you. For what it's worth, I'm just a girl, but I bought the Malice skin on day 1, and you know I'll be buying that Emma Frost skin as soon as it drops. So, to me it just seems like people are being dramatic about this and blowing it way out of proportion. Quick play bot lobbies. I feel like this is pretty well known at this point, but after losing 2 to 3 consecutive quick play games, you're super likely to be put into a bot lobby the next time you queue up. Bot lobbies consist of 4 real teammates, 2 bot teammates, and 6 bot opponents.
Yeah, I noticed that sometime in quick
if you're
play
in
too.
A quick play bot match. The entire enemy team will follow a 2-2-2 team comp. All bots are account level 1. All bot profiles show restricted access, not limited access like real account profiles would show.
I don't notice it
Bots
as
on the
much
team
now
will
in
be
quick play,
8,000
but I
times better
definitely
than the
did.
enemy bots.
Really.
This was definitely added into the game to help with player retention. They don't want players to crash out after losing multiple games, so they sprinkle in a few easy wins to boost self-esteem and keep people wanting to come back and play again. People are really upset about this, and rightfully so. The only time you should be put into a lobby full of bots is if you queue for a practice versus AI game. It's super dirty that they're tricking people like this. Broken comp distribution. When the Rivals devs announced their plans to enact a Season 1 mid-season rank reset, players threw a fit until the devs changed their minds. So now here we are, post-mid-season, dealing with a big issue in comp. In competitive games, a rank distribution is usually a curve like this. A small amount of players in the lowest ranks, the most amount of players in the middle ranks, and the tiniest amount of players in the highest ranks. However, the Marvel Rivals distribution currently looks like this. The largest amount of players are sitting at Bronze 3, the absolute lowest rank. The second largest
the
amount
niggas
of
that don't
players
play
are in
rank,
GM,
like
which
me.
is past the middle ranks, leaning towards the higher ranks. Even if we don't factor in Bronze 3, the rest of the ranks are pretty much even, which is so weird for a competitive game. There's no curve on this chart. A lot of goobers sitting at GM have win rate percentages under 50%. What this tells us is that you can literally reach any rank if you play long enough. This has a lot to do with the absence of a mid-season rank reset, but the fact that you don't lose a ton of elo when you lose matches is a big factor in this as well. It probably also has something to do with the Chrono Shield. Hopefully they figure this out for Season 2. Design controversies. When the game dropped in December, there was a ton of backlash and arguments regarding the character designs. People argued that the female heroes portrayed unrealistic body types.
Oh my god, yo, I swear to God, it's Overwatch all over again. It's Overwatch all over again. They did the same thing with Overwatch.
Stupid. Obviously, superheroes, both male and female, are going to be in shape because they're strong and active. This is how it's always been in comics, movies, and TV shows. The girls have tight uniforms on because it would probably be difficult to save the world in sweatpants and a baggy hoodie. I mean, remember what Edna said about capes? That kind of applies here, doesn't it? It would be a different argument if all the female characters in the game literally sucked and had abilities like wash the dishes as their alt. Anyways, these are fictional characters. I don't understand why we care and why we have to.
Yo, she's spitting. I ain't gonna lie.
Everything. Okay, hey guys, update.
I ain't gonna lie. She gotta get a thumbs up for that
of
one.
Emma Frost. So let me touch on that one real quick. Emma Frost was just announced, and her design is insane. She has thick thighs, huge boobs, with jiggle physics all over.
Yo, yeah, Emma Frost. Yo, Emma Frost thighs is crazy.
I'm super happy to get another girly pop tank character to play as. Let me know what y'all
Her
think.
thighs is crazy though. But I ain't complaining.
Censorship. Since the company behind Rivals, NetEase, is a Chinese company, they have to follow orders given to them by the CCP, or the Chinese Communist Party. We can assume that this is the reason why certain phrases are censored from being said in the Rivals text chat. Here's some things that are censored from the game currently. Winnie the Pooh, Free Taiwan, Free Tibet, Free Hong Kong, and so on. Side note, it's so ironic how Winnie the Pooh is censored in a literal Disney game, but this is because Pooh has been heavily censored all over China since about 2017. Pooh is censored because memes comparing the secretary of the CCP to Winnie the Pooh were circulating online, which of course the CCP didn't like this at all, as it made their leaders look cute and weak. Anyways, I'm getting distracted, but just know that this is a thing that's in the game and some people are not happy about it. NetEase crossover controversy. I mentioned earlier how Rivals could essentially have never-ending content due to the amount of skins that they could rip directly from Marvel comics and movies alone. Despite this, NetEase was recently quoted saying, "There will also be crossover events and promotions with other media to expand the user base." Many are against this for obvious reasons. Crossovers would take away from actual Marvel-related cosmetics, which is what the game is all about. However, some people are theorizing that the quote, "other media," is actually referring to Marvel-related
don't really
stuff,
need
like how
crossovers.
Regal Crown members received an exclusive digital bundle for Rivals.
If it's other Marvel shit, I guess, but like outside of Marvel, don't really need
I'm assuming
crossovers.
that this is probably the case, and this entry isn't a controversy at all, but we'll see. Misspelled skins. On the Carved Traveler, which is a free skin for Groot, the word Goot was carved in the back of his arm. The devs patched this fairly quickly and updated it to the correct spelling. A few weeks later, this happened again, but with the Twilight Duo skin for Cloak and Dagger. Dagger is wearing a bracelet with her name on it, but it was spelled Dagger, D-A-G-E-R, missing one of the G's. They fixed it shortly after. This probably just has to do with the translation issues since the devs all speak Chinese and not English as their primary language, but it was still goofy and I wanted to include it on here. Squirrel Girl Bussy. So like 24 hours after the game came out, data miners were hard at work, ripping character models from the game and leaking them online. Twitter was impatiently waiting for Squirrel Girl's model to be uploaded, and she quickly started trending as soon as her model was posted.
Yeah, that shit was going crazy.
People got a little too excited that her model was super accurate when stripped down. I'm sure this gave the fan art communities a lot of good content to work with.
Yep, Rule 34 niggas went crazy.
NetEase layoffs. Just 2
Shout
months
out to them.
after Rivals launched, news broke out that NetEase laid off all US-based employees, which was weird because the game is crazy successful, making a ton of money for them. People online have mentioned that this is not unusual for Chinese-based gaming companies. They like to utilize the US employees to help them get their games to blow up, and then they'll get rid of them all since the cost of US employees is way more than the cost of the employees that are based in China. NetEase
they got them US niggas to fuck up out
by
here.
saying their dev team in China, quote, remains fully committed to delivering an exceptional experience and will continue to invest more, not less, into the evolution and growth of the game. I also want to note that I don't think this is exclusive to Chinese game companies. Lots of game companies like to have a lot of resources when they're making the game because they need them, and then they don't need that many people to maintain the game after. It's really a rough industry right now. New Jeff glitch. This has to be Jeff glitch like 703 at this point. I swear
How about this? How about this?
The newest
Take him out the game.
with Jeff and Doctor Strange.
How about it?
Basically, you use Jeff's
Do us all a favor and
portal,
take him out the game. How about it?
And then Jeff can spit everyone out under the map somehow, where the only way to get out is to die or disconnect from the game. This is causing big issues since there's no friendly fire in the game, so players are getting stuck and have no choice but to leave the game, resulting in penalties and losses. I'm sure it'll be patched out sometime soon. It actually might be at the point of me recording this video. But don't worry, it's just making way for a new Jeff glitch to enter the chat, because one always does. TikTok ads. While researching topics for this video, I came across an article referencing 2 ads for Rivals on TikTok that apparently broke terms of service. One is of a Invisible Woman in her malice skin, and it says,
Yo.
abuse her this season, before
What?
leading into Rivals gameplay and commentary. The other one is also of Invisible Woman, but this one says, when your teamwork is so tight, even Invisible Woman shows up. I found a few threads about these ads on Reddit where people were arguing about whether this was too much or not. Some called it gross and sexist, but surprisingly, a good amount of people agreed that it's just normal cringy advertising. Technically, these ads are made by authorized partners and not by NetEase themselves. I really don't see an issue with these. To me, it just looks like advertising meant to catch your eye or to bait a reaction, which I guess is working. What do you guys think? Loser's Queue. The loser's queue theory is a controversial belief that if a player loses multiple matches of a competitive game in a row, the matchmaking system will intentionally place them in matches with bad or lower skilled teammates. The motive behind this system is to keep overall win rates near 50%. Devs of other games have addressed and denied the loser's queue theory, playing it off as just something that people make up to cope with the fact that sometimes they go on losing streaks and don't play their best. There have been multiple accusations of Rivals having some sort of loser's queue system set up, mainly mentioned by people stuck in certain ranks and unable to climb out.
I mean, you ass.
True, though, as it seems pretty easy to climb in this game.
Nah, bro, that just mean you ass, bro. ain't no loser's queue. You ass, bro.
It's really funny when it's not being done to me. There's a newish trend right now.
A loser's queue. Hey, bro. Overwatch niggas ain't even making up no shit like that. But come on now, you just ass, bro. Hey, it's cool.
Person over and over again while harassing them in the match chat. The first instance I've seen of this was Rage Bait Spider-Man by 6sav1 on TikTok, but there have been many new videos recently by a variety of creators. It's already annoying enough to get killed by Spider-Man on Respawn, but if they start harassing me in chat too, I'ma crash out. Please keep this negativity out of my matches.
Loser's queue.
Instalock DPS went negative.
Fucking terrible. I hate you niggas that instalock DPS and go negative every time.
Character, and then losing the game because they don't know how to get kills or do damage.
Instalock Wolverine.
I totally get that sometimes.
Instalock Spider-Man.
And that's okay. However,
I always
if
be
you're not
ass.
doing well and you refuse to switch to another role or character when we're losing, then you are the problem. I've lost too many games due to one person that instalocked at the start of the game and was allergic to pressing H in spawn and swapping. I'm actually over it.
Go back to the practice range, my nigga.
Please Someone look up.
Bruh.
Have you ever had a Punisher on your team?
I swear to
that
God,
suffers
I
from
feel like
chronic
I'm
pain and is unable
I feel like I'll be the only person that sees Iron Man. I'll be feeling schizophrenic. I swear to God. I swear to God, it's always a fucking Iron. It's always Iron Man. Always Iron Man, and I'm the only one that always sees.
to look up and shoot Iron Man out of the sky? Yeah, same. I'm not immune to this either. As a healer main, I do want to mention that it's a struggle to remember to look up and
Like
on my
I
team.
don't get it.
But I've lost a ton of games because my teammates just act like Iron Man and Human Torch.
They don't exist. They act like Iron Man don't exist. I don't get it.
However, it happens all the time.
And then when we lose, that Iron Man be fucking MVP. That nigga be 40-1. I was paying him the whole match. Where was you at? What happened?
In quick play. Please, guys, just look up. It takes 1 second, please. Thank you. Blue Bucky bad, red Bucky good. In my 29 years of living, I've never ever had a good Bucky on my team. The good Buckies are always on the enemy team, screaming again in my face as I cry and bang my head into my keyboard. Why am I always up against Winter Soldier but stuck with Summer Civilian on my team? This is obviously a joke, but it happens enough times for me to point it out. I've also seen other people make videos on this exact same topic, so it must be a universal experience. Please, guys, practice Bucky. Overwatch is Marvel Rivals copy. So we started this list out with Rivals being a copy of Overwatch, but lately, Overwatch has been announcing new features and
Yeah,
mechanics that are
Overwatch 2
similar
been
to
scrambling,
Rivals. Since Rivals has been out,
trying to do
Overwatch has
everything to
announced the
become more
return of
Marvel
66,
Rivals right
the
now.
hero band system, their first game mode in third
They've been
person,
doing
and
everything to
ranked
become Marvel Rivals right
all
now.
of this
It's
stuff
kind
is
of
long
embarrassing.
overdue, as they've been neglecting the desires of their community forever. But it's funny that they waited until they had direct competition to do this. Unrelated to Rivals, but they're also bringing back loot boxes, which is insane because that was a huge staple of Overwatch 1. Chinese spy conspiracy. There's a theory floating around right now that Marvel Rivals is a tool being used by the Chinese government to steal Americans' data.
I
The reasoning behind
don't
this
care.
is basically that NetEase is a Chinese company.
I do
People
not
are
care. I'ma
theorizing
still
that the
play
game
it.
has installed Chinese spyware onto their PCs. Since
I played on my
sometimes
Xbox
files
any
are
fucking way.
malware by antivirus
I
programs.
don't
When you
care.
open the game, you also have to allow admin access to your PC, which IT professionals has stated is strange for a game. Basically, it seems that the game has more access than needed to our PCs, and since it's Chinese distributed software, some people are sus of it. Thank you so much for watching. I had a ton of fun putting this one together. Let me know your thoughts below, and if you enjoyed
W
it,
Iceberg.